My friend, listen closely, for what I'm about to tell you is not just truth, it is a spiritual revelation. There are moments in life when the silence of God speaks louder than the noise of the world. There are moments when doors shut, people leave, friendships die, and relationships collapse, and we cry out, "Why, God? Why did they leave me?" But I tell you today, with a voice filled with fire, sometimes the greatest blessing of God is not what He gives, but what He takes away. God will remove evil people from your life, not out of cruelty, but out of protection, not out of punishment, but out of purpose. He sees what you cannot see. He hears what you do not hear, and He knows what you cannot know. Many of you are suffering because you are trying to hold on to people God has already removed. You are crying over someone who betrayed you, someone who abandoned you, someone who stabbed you in the back, and you don't understand that it was not rejection, it was redirection, it was not a curse, it was divine cleansing. Because when you walk with God, He will not allow the weeds to strangle the roots of your destiny. He will not allow evil to grow beside your promise. He will not allow poison to hide in your cup of blessing. There is a spiritual surgery God must do in your life before He can elevate you. Evil must be cut out, hidden agendas must be exposed, secret envy must be revealed, and yes, people you thought were with you will be removed from you, but don't you dare fear it. Don't you dare resist it, because if God removes, it is always for a reason. Evil people come in friendly packaging. They smile while they scheme. They hug while they hate. But God knows. God sees their heart while they deceive with their mouth. You prayed for protection. And protection is not just angels guarding your house. It is also God pulling snakes out of your garden. It is God cutting off conversations meant to destroy your confidence. It is God canceling relationships designed to delay your breakthrough. If God allows a person to walk away from your life, let him walk. Because when evil exits, peace enters. When deception leaves, clarity comes. When the fake fades, the real will be revealed. Many are walking through the valley of confusion right now because they don't understand why the people they trusted turned out to be false. But hear this today. God does not expose to embarrass. He exposes to protect. He reveals so He can heal. He shows you what's hiding so He can prepare you for what's coming. You cannot build a palace on a foundation of lies. You cannot rise with weight on your back that was never meant to be carried. And evil people are weights, emotional leeches, spiritual distractions. They come to steal your focus, kill your joy, and destroy your direction. As an evil idea, but God in His divine mercy will interrupt their plans. God will uncover their masks. God will pull the curtain back on their character. And you'll stand there shocked, saying, "I never knew they were like this." That's because you were blinded by loyalty. You were fooled by appearances. But God sees beyond what the eye can see. And God loves you too much to let the enemy sleep in your bed. God loves you too much to let betrayal eat at your peace. So He removes, He detaches, He disconnects. And it hurts, yes. But what hurts now will bless you later. Some of you are delaying your destiny because you keep reconnecting what God has disconnected. You keep calling what God has cut off. You keep inviting back what God has evicted, and then you wonder why there's chaos. God will never bless a union He has separated. He will not pour oil on poisoned relationships. He will not prosper what He has already pronounced dead. Let it go. Leave it. And trust that God has something better, something pure, something peaceful. The evil person may look successful. They may be loud, proud, influential. But don't be deceived by temporary power. God watches everything. He weighs every heart. And when the time is right, He will act. No evil can hide forever. No plan against the people of God can stand. They may gather, but they will scatter. They may curse you, but their words will return to their mouth. They may mock, but their laughter will become sorrow. For when God rises, every evil force must bow. When God stretches out his hand, no man can stop him. You are not alone in this fight. God is fighting for you in ways you don't even see. He is silencing your enemies behind closed doors. He is confusing the plans of those who plotted against you. He is frustrating the schemes of those who spoke lies about you. You don't have to clap back. You don't have to get revenge. You don't have to defend your name in every room. Just stay silent and let God speak. Stay still and let God move. Because when God removes evil, he does it with finality. The pain of separation is temporary, but the peace that follows is eternal. The removal may break your heart, but it will preserve your soul. There is nothing more dangerous than keeping what God is trying to take away. And there is nothing more powerful than trusting that God knows exactly what he's doing. Sometimes the delay in your blessing is because God is cleaning house. He's removing the enemy's agents before he releases the overflow. You prayed for elevation, but elevation requires purification, and purification comes through disconnection. Evil cannot rise with the righteous. Darkness cannot dwell with light. And God is light, pure, holy, righteous light. When he enters, darkness must go. So if people begin to fall away from your life when you get closer to God, don't panic. That's evidence of your transformation. God will never let evil prosper against his people for long. The enemy may get a season, but God gets the final say. And when he speaks, every evil assignment is canceled. Every fake friend is revealed. Every hidden hater is exposed. And your soul is freed. Some of you are still asking, why did they betray me? Why did they lie? Why did they hurt me? But the better question is, God, what were you protecting me from? What was God stopping before it got worse? What storm was he ending before it destroyed you? What trap did he see that you didn't? You don't need to understand everything to trust God in everything. You don't need all the details to know you are in divine hands. Sometimes God will cause confusion between you and the person who means you harm, just to drive them away. You'll think it was your fault. You'll think it was a miscommunication, but in truth, it was divine interruption. God stepped in. He stopped what was going to drain you, break you, and rob you of your purpose. Evil people don't always come in loud ways. They come quietly, gently, with sweet words and fake compassion, but their heart is full of wickedness. They celebrate your failure in secret. They smile at you in public, but rejoice in your pain privately. But God sees the heart. He tests the spirit. He weighs the motives. And when the time is right, he will show you who they are. It won't be pretty. It won't be easy, but it will be necessary. God is a God of separation. He separated light from darkness, land from sea, good from evil. And he will separate you from what is not of him. You cannot carry evil into your calling. You cannot carry dead weight into destiny. God will trim your circle until only truth remains. He will strip the room until only faith stands. Let God remove who he must. Let him break what he must. Let him cleanse what he must. Don't interfere with divine surgery. Don't interrupt the pruning process, because after the cutting comes the blooming. After the separation comes the saturation. After the loss comes the gain. God never takes without a purpose. He never removes without a plan. And he never allows evil to stay when it threatens the light he has placed inside you. God will not allow his people to be surrounded by snakes. He will not let you walk in darkness when you were called to shine. He will not bless you with evil lurking behind your back. And so in mercy, he removes, even when you don't ask, even when you still love the person. This is why You must trust Him completely. You must surrender not just your dreams and desires, but also your relationships. Give God permission to do what only He can do. Ask Him to purify your circle, to protect your peace, to destroy every evil connection trying to block your breakthrough. And when the storm comes, when the loss hits, when the betrayal stings, remember, it's not the end. It's the beginning of something holy, something healed, something anointed. God is not trying to break you. He's trying to make you, and to make you, He must remove what was sent to fake you. Let go, release, and rejoice, because every person removed by God is a person who couldn't go where you're going. Every evil cast out is a blessing invited in, and every tear you cry now will turn into rivers of peace later. And now hear this with all the weight your spirit can carry. When God begins to elevate you, when He begins to position you for greatness, the first thing He often does is clear the room. He doesn't ask permission. He doesn't explain Himself. He simply removes. Because when God is about to trust you with more, He must first test what's around you. He must first test what's around you. He must cleanse the soil before He plants the seed. He must prepare the atmosphere before He releases the harvest. And part of that preparation is separation. You don't rise by keeping company with destruction. You don't move forward by dragging chains. Some of you are wondering why your circle is shrinking, why your phone is quiet, why the invitations have stopped. But this is not isolation, it is divine insulation. God is pulling you out of the noise to speak into your soul. He is not punishing you, He is protecting you. He is not abandoning you, He is aligning you. Because some environments are too toxic for the calling placed inside you. Some people carry a spiritual odor that God refuses to let stain the garment of your destiny. So He removes. And here's what you must understand. Evil does not always oppose you directly. Sometimes evil attaches itself to you subtly. It walks beside you like a friend. It helps you with ulterior motives. It praises you publicly but poisons you privately. That's why God intervenes. That's why God steps in with surgical precision. Because your spiritual health is too valuable to risk. Your peace is too precious to allow pollution, so He will pluck out the thorns even while you sleep. He will close the mouths that plot, the hearts that envy, the eyes that watch with destruction in their gaze. You may ask, but why now? Why after so many years? Because timing is everything with God. He doesn't always act when you're ready. He acts when it's necessary. God will allow a season of testing, of exposure, of closeness with the enemy, just to teach you to discern, to listen, to depend not on man, but only on Him. And once the lesson is learned, once the soul is trained, then comes the removal, then comes the cleansing, then comes the divine separation that elevates you into new levels of freedom. You don't need to fear the shaking. When your life starts to tremble, when everything feels unstable, it is often a sign that God is rearranging the foundation. He is sifting out the sand and replacing it with stone. And people who are not meant to stand on solid ground will fall away. It is not cruelty. It is clarity. It is divine justice dressed in divine love. Because what God removes is never greater than what He replaces. Do not go chasing what God has rejected. Do not romanticize the past. Do not mourn the loss of what was never ordained. You must learn to see with God's eyes, to value not just who stayed, but who left. There is as much blessing in subtraction as there is in addition. Some of the greatest deliverances you will ever experience will come in the form of people walking away. Don't call it heartbreak. call it heaven's intervention. God is not interested in making you comfortable. He is interested in making you holy. And that journey will often require pruning. Just as a tree cannot bear good fruit with dead branches, your life cannot thrive with the wrong attachments. And God, the master gardener, will not hesitate to prune what's dying, even if you've grown used to its shade. He will not allow false comfort to rob you of your true calling. There is a silence that comes after God removes the counterfeit, and it is sacred. Don't rush to fill it. Don't rush to replace it. Sit in that divine quiet. Let God whisper into your spirit. Let Him rebuild what evil tried to destroy. Because sometimes the blessing is not in what's added, but in what's gone. Trust that God never leaves a gap without a greater plan. What leaves your life under His hand was never meant to remain. And what remains was always meant to stay. There is purpose in every parting, meaning in every separation, glory in every goodbye that is ordained by God. Now let this truth soak into your soul. God doesn't just remove evil people to protect you. He removes them to prepare you. Because the next season of your life requires a new level of peace, a new level of discernment, a new level of obedience. And that cannot come while you're yoked to what's pulling you backward. Evil may offer you comfort, but it will never offer you growth. It may give you attention, but it will never give you alignment. God does not tolerate compromise in those He calls. He will not allow evil to be a background noise in your life while He's trying to be your only source. He will shut every door that was cracked open to distraction. He will break every tie that was holding you hostage. He will turn your tears into tools and your pain into power. But He must first clean the field. So don't cry when the ones you trusted walk away. Don't lose your mind when betrayal finds you. Thank God, yes, thank God, because evil cannot leave without God allowing it. And if God allowed it, then it was no longer meant to be attached to your destiny. God is always moving behind the scenes. He is inspecting hearts while you're inspecting faces. He is checking intentions while you're listening to words. And when He finds evil hiding in plain sight, He removes it with fire, not to destroy you, but to purify you, to sanctify the space around you, so His glory can rest without hindrance. But if you've been feeling a divine stirring in your spirit, if you've noticed certain people growing distant, acting strange, disappearing from your life, don't be alarmed. That's the wind of God blowing. That's the breath of God cleansing your circle. That's the fire of God consuming what's unclean. Don't chase the ashes. Don't grieve the dust. Lift your eyes and trust the process. This is your confirmation. That which God removes cannot be reclaimed. That which He detaches cannot be reattached without consequence. You must release it fully. You must let it go without regret. Because what's ahead is too holy, too powerful, too sacred to be shared with those sent to destroy. You prayed for peace, and God is answering by cutting chaos out of your life. You prayed for clarity, and He's removing confusion by removing the source of it. You asked for strength, and He's pulling out every voice that made you feel weak. Don't resist the hand that rescues you. Don't question the hand that shields you. Just follow. Just surrender. Just believe that God is doing more for you than you can yet understand. And then you find yourself alone in a room you once shared with many. Lift your hands and praise God, because solitude in the presence of God is better than company surrounded by evil. Loneliness under his shadow is greater than popularity in darkness. He is refining you, preparing you, shielding you, and leading you so that when the time comes, you will rise without weight, speak without fear, and walk without chains. Let this sink into your spirit, never to be forgotten. God is your defender. God is your filter. God is your guard. And God will never allow what's evil to remain where he intends to dwell. So when removal comes, receive it as mercy. When loss arrives, see it as alignment. When the curtain falls, understand that the next act is about to begin. You are not losing, you are being positioned. You are not abandoned, you are being protected. You are not being punished, you are being prepared. Evil may scream, but it cannot stay. It may linger, but it cannot root itself in the soil God has cleansed. So walk with confidence. Speak with boldness. Pray with fire. Because when God removes evil, the blessing follows swiftly. And now I tell you with the authority that comes only from trusting in God alone, when he begins to work in your life, when he starts to cleanse the garden of your heart, he does not ask how you feel about the weeds. He does not negotiate with your emotions. He simply acts because his wisdom is greater than your understanding. And some of the people you are fighting to keep were never planted by God to begin with. They were sown by distraction. They were placed by opposition. They came into your life not to bless you, but to blind you. But when God moves, the veil is lifted. The disguise is torn. The evil that was hiding is suddenly exposed in the light of his presence. You must understand this sacred truth. God will not allow your soul to be contaminated when he has destined it for righteousness. He will not let voices speak into your future that carry the venom of deceit. He will not allow hands to touch your anointing that are stained with manipulation. So he removes swiftly, quietly, without explanation. And if you are not spiritually awake, you will grieve the very thing that God called a deliverance. You'll call it a loss when it was really liberation. You'll call it heartbreak when it was holy interruption. Let your spirit be alert. Not all closeness is divine. Not every listener is a helper. Not every supporter is sincere. God knows the hidden intent behind every smile. He knows who claps with their hands but curses with their thoughts. He knows who sits at your table while secretly sowing seeds of jealousy behind your back. So before he blesses you with the abundance he has prepared, he purges your circle. He clears your path. Because a clean heart cannot carry polluted relationships. It may come suddenly. People who once seemed stable may become distant. Friends you thought would walk with you for a lifetime may leave overnight. Don't chase, don't question, don't beg for what God has dismissed. Sometimes silence is the only explanation God will give, and you must be mature enough in your faith to accept it. Let God's no become your peace. Let his disconnection become your direction. There is a sacred cleansing God brings when he is about to elevate you, and this cleansing does not just apply to others, it applies to your inner life as well. Because God not only removes evil people from your life, he removes the parts of you that clung to them. He will take the bitterness out. He will take the people-pleasing out. He will take the guilt, the codependency, the need for approval. And he will burn it in the fire of his purification. Why? Because what is ahead cannot be handled with the same emotional chains that once bound you. You are stepping into a new season, a season that requires vision, not validation. A season that demands boldness, not begging. You are not called to compromise for comfort. You are not called to adjust your truth to keep false peace. You are called to stand firm, unmovable, and unashamed under the covering of God. And when he removes what's not aligned with your destiny, it is your responsibility to not look back. Don't romanticize the bondage. Don't repaint the prison cell just because it once felt familiar. When evil is allowed to linger, it breeds confusion. When God removes it, He brings order. Some of you have been praying for clarity, but clarity requires cleansing. The fog will not lift until the source of the fog is driven out. And sometimes that means letting go of voices that once comforted you, because those voices now contradict the voice of God. Let this settle in your heart. God will never remove anything that you truly need. He only removes what blocks, what hinders, what harms, what poisons. And even if you loved it, even if it once helped you, it is still subject to God's command, because nothing, and I mean nothing, can stay in the life of a person whom God has claimed for Himself unless it passes through the fire of His will. Evil people may offer you opportunities, but God will block it. They may offer you temporary favor, but God will cancel the contract, because the price of compromising your integrity is far too high. And if it takes loss for you to keep your soul clean, God will allow the loss. If it takes loneliness to protect your calling, God will permit the loneliness. If it takes rejection to refine your purpose, then that rejection is holy. What the world calls failure, God calls favor in disguise. What looks like subtraction to man is often multiplication in the Spirit. Because when God takes something, He always gives back better. What is removed in pain will be replaced in purpose. But you must pass the test. You must not go back. You must not rebuild what God tore down. You must not resurrect what He buried. When God removes evil, let it stay gone. Some of the greatest delays in your life are not caused by the enemy, they are caused by disobedience. You keep trying to bless what God already cursed. You keep opening doors God has shut. You keep watering ground that no longer grows. And then you wonder why your peace is drying up. Listen carefully. Peace is a signal. Peace is evidence. When evil leaves and peace enters, that is confirmation that God's hand was in the removal. God is a God of order, and before He blesses a space, He ensures that space is ready. He clears the atmosphere. He sanctifies the environment, because the blessing you're asking for cannot be poured into chaos. It cannot thrive among deception. So let God finish what He started. Don't interrupt His divine cleaning. Don't cling to what's crumbling. Trust that His hand is still holding you even when His will is breaking you. You cannot walk in divine power while holding hands with evil. You cannot carry light and darkness in the same vessel. And God, being the source of all truth, will not compete with lies. He will not share space with deceit. So when He starts to shake things loose, when He begins to strip away what you once leaned on, stand still. Don't fight the pruning. Praise Him through it, because what He's making room for is more glorious than anything you've lost. What's ahead requires a new you, a lighter you, a wiser you, a cleaner you, and evil attachments cannot follow where God is leading. There's a spiritual dimension of protection that many never reach, because they refuse to release what's already expired. But for those who trust, those who obey, even when it hurts, there is reward, there is increase, there is a deep, unshakable peace that surpasses understanding. When God removes evil from your life, He is not just eliminating the people who wish to harm you, He is removing access. He is sealing off entry points. He is closing spiritual doors that once allowed the enemy to walk freely in and out of your emotions, your mind, your peace. It may look like a person leaving. It may appear as a relationship ending. It may come as a betrayal so deep it leaves you breathless. But behind the pain is purpose. Behind the loss is light. And behind the separation is the hand of the Almighty God working to build a stronger, purer vessel. One that cannot be infiltrated by deception again. You must understand that evil does not always wear the face of hatred. It can wear the mask of friendship. It can come disguised as someone who supports you, someone who offers help, someone who shares your goals, but their heart is darkened by envy. Their spirit carries manipulation, and their mission is not aligned with the will of God. God sees beyond what you see. You look at the outward appearance, but God judges the inner motive. You see loyalty, God sees leeches. You see a smile, God sees a snare. So He acts, not on impulse, but on divine wisdom. He interrupts your comfort to protect your future. There are times when God will allow friction to rise in a relationship, not because He wants conflict, but because He wants clarity. He allows the hidden character to surface. He allows true intentions to be revealed. The mask slips, and suddenly, what once seemed harmless is shown for what it truly is. Don't ignore the signs. Don't silence your discernment. God speaks through unease. He speaks through that quiet discomfort that stirs in your spirit every time evil draws near. That unrest is not paranoia. It is protection. It is the voice of God warning you, pulling you away before the storm breaks. And if you disobey, if you insist on keeping what God has clearly removed, then the blessing will delay, the peace will evaporate. The doors that were meant to open will stay locked until obedience returns to your heart. Because God will not bless what He commanded you to leave behind. He will not anoint what He already exposed as false. You cannot pray for deliverance while holding hands with the very thing sent to destroy you. Let your loyalty be to God, not to familiarity. Let your heart cling to truth, not tradition. There are people who are part of your past, but have no place in your future. There are voices that once guided you, but now only confuse you. Don't mourn the pruning. It is God's love in action. He is not trying to break you down. He is trying to rebuild you stronger. He is shaping your environment to match your calling. And evil, no matter how subtle, cannot be allowed to remain. God does not just remove evil for your benefit, He removes it for His glory. Because your life is not just about comfort or survival, it is about carrying out the divine assignment that has been written over your existence since before time began. And that assignment cannot be carried out in the presence of distraction, deception, or spiritual corruption. So God separates, and separation is never easy, but it is sacred, it is holy, it is necessary. You may feel like you're standing in a barren place, stripped of the relationships you once leaned on. But God does His best work in the wilderness. It is in the silence that He sharpens your hearing. It is in the solitude that He strengthens your foundation. He doesn't speak through the noise. He speaks after it's been cleared. So don't rush back into the crowd. Don't fill the emptiness with something just to feel secure again. Let God finish the removal so He can start the restoration. And once the evil is gone, don't open the door again. Don't allow nostalgia to override your discernment. Don't mistake time past for change of heart. Some things are meant to stay gone, some ties are meant to stay cut. And some lessons must be remembered, not repeated. God doesn't waste time repeating His warnings. And when He shows you the truth, believe Him the first time. Now listen deeply. God not only removes evil people to guard your life, but He also uses their removal to strengthen your faith. He wants you to know that your survival never depended on them. Your joy was never in their hands. Your value was never based on their validation. You are who you are because God made you. You are sustained by His power, not theirs. So when He pulls them away, don't see it as a demotion. See it as deliverance. It is not the fall of your stability. It is the rise of your divine independence. And here is a powerful truth. When God removes, He also replaces, but what He gives will always be better than what He takes. He may remove people who were popular, but He will send people who are pure. He may take away those who are loud and visible, but He will bring those who are quiet and faithful. He doesn't fill your life with noise, He fills it with nourishment. And every new connection, every new opportunity, every new source of strength will be a reminder that obedience brings abundance. Some of you are about to enter a new season, but that season requires you to be free of contamination, free of the influence of those who only serve to distract you, free of the whisperers who sow doubt when you were trying to believe, free of the manipulators who made you question your worth. And God, in His mercy, is removing them, not to punish them, but to promote you. This is not the time to look back. This is not the time to shrink. This is not the time to second guess the process. You are being elevated. You are being refined. You are being positioned to walk in authority. And evil cannot walk beside authority. The two cannot coexist. One must bow. And when God has chosen you, evil must flee. When God removes evil from your life, He is not just delivering you from danger, He is declaring ownership over your destiny. He is saying to the forces that thought they had access to your peace, your purpose, your path, no more. He is drawing a line in the unseen realm and marking you as His. And when God declares something as His own, He surrounds it with fire. He builds a hedge around it. He puts a shield of unseen might around it, and no evil, no matter how cunning or familiar, can penetrate what God Himself protects. You see, there comes a moment in every believer's life where silence becomes warfare, where disconnection becomes strategy, where the exit of evil is not weakness, it is divine warfare waged on your behalf. You didn't see the schemes, but God did. You didn't hear the curses spoken in private, but God did. You didn't know the trap was being built under your feet, but God destroyed it before you ever stepped into it. And all you noticed was that someone you trusted suddenly disappeared. A door suddenly shut. A friendship suddenly collapsed. That wasn't coincidence. That was the mercy of God saying, not this one, not now, not ever. Do you think God will let evil stay where His name is being lifted high? Do you think He will allow your soul to carry contamination while He is preparing you for consecration? No. God is too wise, too holy, too purposeful to ignore the danger around you. And sometimes God will allow you to feel the sting of betrayal, so you stop leaning on people who are secretly leaning on darkness. Sometimes the very one who held your hand was the one digging your grave. But God blocked it. God severed the tie. God ended the transaction before the enemy could collect. This is why you must not mourn what God ends. If it ended, let it stay ended. If it left, let it stay gone. Because anything God removes, He removes not to empty your life, but to purify it. He is not subtracting value, He is extracting poison. You cannot drink from a cup that looks clean on the outside but is full of corruption inside. And many of the connections you held dear were dressed in kindness but carried corruption. That is why God stripped them away, not to leave you broken, but to make you whole. Evil does not always roar like a lion. It often whispers like a friend. But God hears the whisper. He reads the silent intentions. He measures the hidden envy. He sees the motives behind every handshake. And just when the enemy thinks he's gone unnoticed, God steps in, not with noise, but with power. He will quietly remove what you didn't know was killing you. He will cut the string before it tightens around your promise. He will cancel the assignment before it ever reaches your home. And here's a deeper truth. Sometimes the evil God removes isn't just people. Sometimes it's patterns, attitudes, thoughts, habits. There are times when the most dangerous thing in your life is not who surrounds you, but what's operating within you. the fear you've tolerated, the bitterness you've buried, the unforgiveness you refuse to surrender. And God, in His divine authority, will begin to uproot those internal enemies just as aggressively as He removes the external one. Because He's not only interested in protecting your body, He's after your soul, He's after your purity, He's after the wholeness of your heart. So when you feel God stripping you, do not panic. Do not fight the process. Let Him dig. Let Him purge. Let Him burn out every impurity that the world tried to plant inside you. Because what's coming next requires a cleaner heart, a clearer mind, and a closer walk with God than you've ever known. You may have walked with evil unknowingly, but now the light of God is revealing. Now the power of God is separating. And what cannot stand in the presence of God must fall. What cannot serve the purpose of God must be cut off. There is no compromise. There is no middle ground. You are either aligned with the will of God or aligned with what works against it. And God in His sovereignty will always choose your future over your feelings. This is a message to your spirit. You do not need everyone to understand why you're being pulled away. You do not need to explain to the people God removed. Sometimes He will cause conflict just to cause distance. He will allow confusion to protect you from the charm of evil. So if someone left without reason, thank God. If they turned cold without warning, thank God. If they suddenly became silent, thank God. Because often, that silence is louder than 1,000 warnings. That silence was orchestrated by heaven to keep your spirit safe. When God cleans house, He doesn't leave behind dust. He does not halfway cleanse. He removes with precision. He doesn't just take the person out of your life. He removes their influence from your mind. He breaks the emotional ties. He severs the soul attachments. And though it hurts at first, you will look back and see that your heart was never meant to carry what God never assigned to you. There is an authority that only comes after removal. There is a peace that only arrives after evil is sent away. There is a strength that only grows in the soil of separation. So don't look at this season with natural eyes. Don't ask God to bring back what He has judged unworthy. Don't beg for reconciliation when heaven has ruled for release, because the new thing God is doing cannot begin until the old thing is buried. And make no mistake, God never loses control. He never removes without reason. He never strips without strategy. If something was uprooted from your life, it was not a mistake, it was not random, it was a holy interruption, a divine realignment. God said, this cannot go where I'm taking you. And once He says it, no argument, no manipulation, no emotion can reverse it. His will is final. His decision is law. And His way is perfect. So walk boldly, walk clean, walk separated. Let every step you take from this day forward be one that honors the God who rescued you, not just from danger, but from deception. Let your life be a testimony that when God removes evil, He replaces it with something far greater: clarity, protection, power, and peace. You do not need the approval of those God removed. You do not need closure from conversations that never honored your soul. You do not need to make sense of everything. All you need is faith. Faith that the same God who opened your eyes will also heal your heart. Faith that the same God who closed the door will open a better one. Faith that the God who removes with pain restores with purpose. And in that restoration, you will find yourself stronger, wiser, freer, and more aligned with His will than you have ever been. Let your soul be still in this truth. God never removes to punish. He removes to prepare. He never empties your hands without the intention to fill them again. And He never tears down what he does not plan to rebuild on better ground. This is not the ending, this is the cleansing before the beginning. And what God has planned for your next chapter will make every removal, every silence, every unanswered question completely worth it. Trust him, obey him, let him finish what he started. Because the God who removes evil is also the God who releases greatness. So now stand firm, do not waver, do not look back with regret, but look forward with reverence. You are not empty. You are being prepared for overflow. You are not abandoned. You are being handpicked for something sacred. When God removes evil from your life, it is not a tragedy, it is a testimony, a sign that his eye is on you, his hand is over you, and his purpose is being fulfilled through you. Thank God for the silence. Thank God for the doors that closed. Thank God for the relationships that ended, because what was removed could not carry the weight of where he's taking you, and what is ahead demands a purer walk, a clearer spirit, and a heart undivided. Trust in the one who sees what you cannot. Obey the one who removes what you were too attached to release, and rest in the truth that when God cleans the path, he clears the way for glory to fall. You are not alone. You are not forsaken. You are chosen, covered, and carried. And as you move forward, do so with peace, power, and praise, knowing that what God removes, he always replaces with something greater. Let that be your strength. Let that be your comfort. Let that be your unshakable faith. God has removed evil. Now prepare to walk in victory.